listeners. I am Manushree Sagar, Senior Vice President and Sector Head Financial Sector Ratings at ICRA Limited. And through this podcast, I will be sharing our views on some of the recent RBI notifications. The RBI in its circular dated June 8, 2023 had given detailed guidelines on default loss guarantee or DLG in digital lending. Subsequently, the RBI issued FAQs on these guidelines in April 2024. The latest FAQs provide clarity on the capital allocation for entities providing DLG. ICRA believes that the capital and funding requirement for entities extending DLG would go up as DLG will have to be provided on the disbursed amount and this would have to be retained for the tenor of the loans. Further, the entire DLG would be knocked off from capital for capital adequacy computation. The FAQs also indicate that the DLG provided for specified loans, once invoked on account of a delinquency or a write-off, cannot be replenished during the remaining tenor of those loans, even if those loans are recovered. This can result in delayed invocation of DLGs going forward and thus higher reported NPAs. At present, DLG can be invoked once an account becomes delinquent in the books of the regulated entity. The FAQs also provide some clarity on the operational aspects of digital lending. The RBI further released draft guidelines on the aggregation of loan products from multiple lenders in April 24. This is aimed at improving transparency for the end borrowers and could require some tweaking of the business models for lending service providers or LSPs. LSPs will have to disclose all the loan offers available for the borrowers in case an LSP has outstanding arrangement with multiple lenders. This could turn out to be favorable for lenders with strong brand presence or recall vis-a-vis other lenders in case where the loan terms are not defined. Overall, ICRA expects the impact of these regulations to be a long-term positive for the industry, providing clarity on risk sharing among various participants and also improving borrower information and protection in the digital lending space. The RBI introduced small finance banks or the SFBs in 2014 with the objective of advancing financial inclusion in India. The aim was to promote savings and extend credit to small business units, small and marginal farmers, micro and small industries and other unorganized sectors. At present, 11 SFBs are operating in India. And in April 2024, the RBI released the eligibility criteria for SFBs to transition into a universal bank. The key eligibility criteria include scheduled bank status with 5 years of satisfactory track record, being listed on a stock exchange, meeting regulatory capital adequacy ratio, minimum net worth of ₹1,000 crores, and profitable operations with controlled asset quality over the last 2 fiscals. SFBs with a diversified loan portfolio are expected to be preferred for transitioning to a universal bank. Transitioning to a universal bank would aid SFBs in strengthening their competitive positioning and facilitate portfolio diversification. Universal banks have relatively lower capitalization and priority sector lending requirements, along with higher borrower and group exposure limits. Further, removing the small finance tag can lower risk perception and thereby facilitate the improvement and diversification of their deposit franchise. Moving on to project finance. On May 3, 2024, the RBI issued the draft guidelines, Prudential Framework for Income Recognition, Asset Classification and Provisioning pertaining to advances for projects under implementation. These have been issued to rationalize the extant guidelines and harmonize the same for all the regulated entities which undertake project finance. The draft guidelines propose more robust underwriting by project finance lenders and emphasizes the need for all key approvals to be in place before loan disbursement. Similarly, the DCCO needs to be spelled out clearly and documented at the time of the financial closure. Any subsequent change in the DCCO could be treated as a credit event, indicating vulnerability in the project credit profile. The draft guidelines harmonize the provisioning requirement in case of DCCO deference across the regulated entities and proposes a higher provision requirement for under construction projects, which is proposed to be applied gradually over a 3-year period. The maximum permissible DCCO deferral, while maintaining a standard asset status, is also proposed to be reduced to 3 years. The impact of the proposed higher provisioning for under implementation projects would be significant. As per ICRA estimates, The per annum impact on Roma during the glide path is estimated at 100 to 150 basis points. Alternate, some entities could directly create an impairment reserve and hence tier 1 could be accordingly impacted. DFCSO reference beyond 1 or 2 years would attract further higher specific provisions. The guidelines also provide a roadmap to gradual reduction in provisioning requirements based on the project's performance. However, the provisioning requirement would still be higher than the current norms. In ICRA's view, project viability could get impacted in some cases since the funding cost could go up by 20 to 40 basis points as lenders build in additional risk premiums in their loan pricing. Thank you for listening and stay tuned for our upcoming podcast.